Well, I've been talking for a while and you haven't been able to hear me, but that's all right. That's what happens when you don't know how to use music stuff. So that's what I'm here to teach you how to do this without doing things like that, all right? So, my name is Credex. Okay, nice to meet you guys. Have you ever had a song stuck in your head? Music you wanted to write, things like that, but you didn't have the money to bring it to life or to record it or to do anything like that. Well, that's going to be my goal here. Okay, we're going to take you from start to finish, writing the lyrics, the process of that, writing music, mixing, mastering with the bare minimum equipment, the cheapest things you can find. Reaper is going to be one of the biggest things you're going to hear me talk about. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of investigation about probably the best musical thing to use. Probably going to be FL Studio, honestly. And Reaper, excuse me, as I've said, is free. You know, every time you use it, you're gonna click it, and there's gonna be a little thing like a begging little child. It's gonna be like, please, give me more, and you just say no, and then it'll be like, all right, whatever, keep using me. So it'll ask you every single time if you want to buy it. You say no, it'll leave you alone, but you gotta wait like 5 seconds to click it. Okay, so that's one of the main things you're gonna need once we start recording today. Nothing. You don't need a thing but your brain and some inspiration and willingness to participate. Okay. My name is Credex. This is Credex Stream. We are part of the Vitality Network, Vitality Social Network. If you're not following us on Discord or part of the Discord group, then make sure you get into that. There is a little thing right over here. Right. Bing bong, bing bong. Just click it. Go right into it. All right. Join. You can DM me there, leave comments, things like that. You know, if there's anything you guys need, talk to me personally. That's the main reason I'm doing this, because I see a lot of classes and things online where you can either pay someone to teach you things, and it's always just videos they've already recorded, and then you just watch them and try to follow along, or it's videos you watch on YouTube, which are pre-recorded as well. I haven't really seen a lot of live videos like this or live streams where you can join someone, ask them questions, and get to know the process as you go. So when you're in the chat, participate, ask questions. No such thing as a dumb question. Like I said before, anything. What's 1+1? Hey, man, it's 2. Don't worry about it. All right. I got you. Whatever you need. All right. Just make sure you're asking questions. I'll make sure to periodically answer them. And that's the main thing I want to take out of this. That way, if you're learning with me and there's something you don't understand, you can ask immediately. Or if you're scared to ask me, DM me. We can get to it later. Okay. So, to kick this thing off, I spoke a little bit in my the Meet Me video that I posted. If anybody actually watched that, if not, you can go back and check it out. But there's 3 major types of songwriting, or at least lyric writing. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of go into that. So what you're gonna want to do is find a marker. If you have a whiteboard, that's usually beneficial. So there are 2 main types of lyric writing. Okay, there's the ones that just write. So those are the people that literally you would write it down like poetry. You know, you write poetry like, oh, the summer's blah 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 blah, whatever. You know how you're gonna rhyme it, and then you put it to music. There's lyrical improv, which is basically that's improve, ignore that. That's where you basically improvise the lyrics themselves as you flow. That's something that I tend to do a lot. That's something that you really only need if you're doing like live shows. If you want to do, I don't know if I talked about it a lot, but I was in a band for a while where literally, I didn't write the lyrics to our songs. I wrote like the chorus, and then every time we would go on stage, I would improvise the songs on stage and just make it up as I was going. So in that situation, obviously you need lyrical improv because you have to say words. Okay. And then there would be what I call melody improv. Okay. With melody improv, you don't need words. Okay. You're basically speaking gibberish in a way that you're basically just using consonants and vowels to put them in place of where the song sits. Okay, so let's say you're doing something and you want to just find the melody. You could be like, and then later you kind of pick out those melodies and those harmonies. You find what fits and you put words to it, okay, to make the song fit. And one thing I like about improv as well is that you can kind of combine all of these. You know, let's say you're doing the melody improv and then you find a couple of words that end up sticking, like, and then the ocean feels that, you'd be like, oh, ocean feels something, something. So then you keep doing lyrical improv, and then eventually you're sitting down with it and you're writing it. Okay, so you can combine all of these. The only thing that we're not really going to be covering a whole lot today is probably going to be the melody improv, just because really you do need to be able to record. And I didn't come here today planning to yes, you absolutely, Magic Melon, you absolutely have to be willing to sound silly. Okay, just that's why I personally find that melody improv is like the best to do alone, because if you get embarrassed easily, you're gonna feel completely dumb sitting there like, you know, that's actually something Michael Jackson did a lot though, and The Weeknd also. That's how he writes his songs. If anybody's more familiar with more like post-hardcore stuff, anyone's ever heard of Johnny Craig, that's how he writes his songs. Melody improv, they do that. Then they go in and they write songs to it. Michael Jackson, a really interesting thing about him as well is he also beatboxed his songs, which is why he actually does the people always hear, because when he writes his songs, he recorded himself beatboxing the beat to the song to teach people how the beat should sound. So then when he would sing it, he would still be doing the beatboxing. So it'd be like so all those little sounds were him actually beatboxing and remembering the beatboxes he did while he was singing, which I think is fantastic. One of all the people that's done that and did it amazingly. But yeah, there's no wrong way to do it. You guys, if I teach you these 3 ways and you discover a 4th one where aliens come down and talk to you, boom, cool, you just did a new one, okay? Tell me, because shoot, I would love to teach people how aliens come down and teach you how to sing. But the point is, these are the 3 ways that I know, and these are the 3 ways I'm going to be teaching you, okay? So, best thing to start off with, probably the easiest one for someone that's not really used to writing lyrics, is going to be writing lyrics, ironically, because that's going to be where you're going to be writing something and thinking about it, okay? And the thing about writing lyrics also is it doesn't need to fit the melody. So when you write lyrics, I used to have, you know, books and books of just poems that I've written or songs that I've written that didn't have music to them, whereas improv, you're going to need music, okay? Because you have to improv. I would say improvise, because whatever, you have to improvise it over music in order for it to work. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to hear the music and be able to improvise the melodies over the music that's behind you, as well as with the lyrics. You have to be able to improvise that over music. Whereas if you write the lyrics, then you put it to music later and you fit it in where it wants to. Okay. I myself am not a big fan of AI, whatever. I'm not going to teach you guys how to do it on AI, but it is helpful in some situations if you absolutely are one of those people that don't mind using AI to like put the lyrics that you write into like Suno or something like that, and then put the song in there as well. Suno will find the way to make it match, do whatever you want. They can write lyrics for you, everything. But overall, just want to make it clear, if you're here to learn how to write songs with AI, wrong place to be, okay? I will teach you how to write the songs yourself. I feel like this is a dying art of really doing it from your heart and your soul. So that's how you do it. If you want to learn how to write songs with AI, there's 100 different ways. You don't even really need to look it up. Type it in there, bing, bang, boom, you're done. All right? So, make your life more better, bot lava. AI power. I said the word AI, and it looks like I might have got an AI to talk to me. That was wild. So another reason I don't like AI, that's weird. Let's see. Actually, what is that? Is that keep channel alive and boost your audience growth? Oh, it's spam. Either way, you guys. All right, so we're gonna go and kick this thing off. I did take some notes, so I'm gonna check over and see where we'd be best off to start here. I am gonna, while I'm doing this in the meantime, I'm gonna show you guys some songs I wrote. This one, or songs I wrote, sorry. This song specifically is one I do want you guys to hear, specifically because of the reason that this is a song my band had written. I've been in bands for years and years. This band, we used to tour. We're called Finding Atlantis. If you ever want to look us up on YouTube, we had like, several 100,000 views on some of our songs. We have music videos, shirts, posters, the whole 9 yards. But this song specifically, we had a big show coming up the next day. We actually sold out a place called Green Street in Greensboro, and I hadn't written the lyrics for one of our songs, and it was the album release show. So we were planning to play all the songs from the album. And the guys are like, dude, what do you mean you haven't written this song yet? Like, it's tomorrow. So this is a song that I basically improvised, wrote on the spot that night in like an hour. The guys had never heard it before. We literally performed it for the first time together on stage, and that's how it went. That's another big thing about working with bands that I love. That's a lot easier than doing solo stuff, is the bands can write the songs and then you put the lyrics on over it. But so I'm going to play you guys a little bit of this song. As I said, this is a song that I wrote, basically improvised in one night. So sorry, give me 1 second. I was going to bring it up on here, but then there was a whole issue with like it allowing me to play and do all this. So this song is called Sweat Tears in the Sea. I'm just going to play a little bit of it while I look over my notes, and hopefully you guys can hear it. If anybody in the chat can't hear it, well, let me know, but here it goes. Again, I wrote these songs, improvised them in a night, played it the next day. So here you go. Everybody hear that good? Don't speak, the world's not ready for your voice. As the waves swirls around and we fade into the night, in the night sky, and the city sleeps tonight. It's only you and So that's a good example of how, you just feel something, you let it out, and that's how it goes. Like I said, I improvised it in one night. I used, yes, The Weeknd is honestly one of my favorite artists. I love The Weeknd. He's always been huge. I've been listening to him back since House of Balloons came out. He's always been huge for me. I love The Weeknd. Which is why his writing style is also very fantastic. But so with that writing style for me, singing that song, basically the night before, they were kind of rushed, they were all nervous. I kind of just picked a moment and ran with it. It was just kind of like a pure feeling thing. I didn't really use as much of the melody improvisation. Wow, am I having a stroke? The good Jesus Christ, the melody improv, whatever. So I didn't really use as much of the melody improv as the actual lyric improv. I used pretty much just lyric improv. I sat there, I did it. And the way I like to do it, usually when I have Reaper is a good time to do it. But if you do it on your phone, you can listen to the song, take your phone, voice memo, record yourself saying some stuff, play it back, catch the pieces you like, so you'll sing some stuff. You might hear a sentence or two that you love and you like, and you think that fits great. Boom, use those. Do it again. You might hear another sentence you like. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Sometimes you'll do like 12 recordings from start to finish of the song, and then you can pick apart and say, I really like this line. I really like this line. I really like this line. Before you know it, the song's written. you know? That one just happened to be amazing, and I wrote it without even having to really do that. I think I sat down, recorded it, and it was done. But that's that's pretty much how I like to write songs. I like to I do a lot of the melody improv, but I do prefer lyrical improv just by doing it that way. And that is something that I'll show you guys when I have a chance to bring Reaper on here, because with Reaper it's amazing. You put the music on there, and then like I said, you can record yourself, you can pick out the lines you like, and with Reaper, you can record an entire track, mute that track, start a new one, record another one, mute it, record another one, and with that, you can clip it. So let's say, like I said, you find a line here that you like, you cut it, paste it here, then you find a line here you like, cut it, paste it next to that one, and now you have the song becoming a song itself without you having to re-record it, redo it, and then you have a really rough draft, and then you can sing it all again once you've learned it. So I actually really enjoy doing funny songs like that, Bo Burnham and stuff like that. It's great. One good thing about that too is, that's something that you really don't need a lot of really like advanced technology for, because something like that, it really doesn't need to be mixed well. Those songs, funny songs, honestly, I find them to be funnier when the mix is terrible, because it's more about the humor, it's more about what you're doing with it, whether than like, oh, that sounded so great, that mix was so, his voice sounded so good. Nobody cares. If you're laughing at it, it's great. Okay. And with that too, I don't really know, if you don't have a laptop, it's gonna be a lot harder, but again, you can do it on your phone. Some iPhones have apps you can use. I'm sure there's plenty of apps you can find online. Again, I'll do some research to find stuff like that, but I'm sure there's apps everywhere where you can put songs together. I know for sure, like what's it called? I'm not an iPhone iMac guy. You got GarageBand. I'm not sure if you guys can use that on the iPhone, but I know it's actually pretty good for writing songs. I mean, as far as like breaking things down and doing it the way you do. So again, it's just really the process, just it's different. So another thing, where the inspiration for the song comes from. A lot of people spend too much time thinking about what they want to write, what they want to say, where they're drawing it from, this, that, blah, 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 blah. I think it's easier when you just don't think about it, which is another reason why I like to use the improv. Just hit a line, just like the first line that comes to mind, and especially with lyrical improv, the way to do it, there's like there's a technique to it. So you're going to use your first line, like let's say, I don't know what to do. So then immediately your first thought is do. What rhymes with do? You. When I lost you, boom. Don't know what to do since I lost you. And then you'll be like, true. None of it was true. So your goal is to use the words that rhyme and then build around that. So when you're improvising these songs, you start with a line, doesn't matter what it is. If you're just kind of building a rough draft, you start with the first line, you take that line. If you want to rhyme it, you think of a rhyme quick in your head. What rhymes with that? Boom, build a line around it. Do the same thing with the next one. Fourth line can be anything, and then come back to it. Okay. A good way to practice that is just to constantly, let's see, trap, bap, rap, nap, cap, hap, like they don't have to be words, dumb, lum. That could have went wrong. So there's some other words, there's lots of words that rhyme with other words. Run, gun, sun, hun, things like that, I've been under the sun, trying to have some fun. Know that I was done when you pulled out that gun and shot me in the face, something like that. It doesn't need to really, you do what you gotta do. So focus on that when you're writing lyrics. Spit out the first line. Again, like I said, a lot of people like to overthink it and try to figure out where to start. And typically, if you start the way I said and you just spit out a line and don't think about that first line, it's going to be something from your soul that maybe you didn't even know was there. It could be something that sparks things. I've written songs before that like hit me. Like I wrote the song and I was like, wow, that was deep. I didn't even know that was in there, because a lot of us hide so much of our emotions and so much of our feelings and so much of our thoughts that we don't know how to let them out. And through this process of songwriting and all this, it's a lot easier to let something out that you didn't know was there in the first place. So that's another reason why I love teaching people this, because it's very therapeutic as well to really be able to be your own therapist and write these songs. And not only that, but these are songs that maybe someone else also doesn't know how to put into words. Someone else didn't also know they were feeling. So you write these songs that have this incredible passion and incredible meaning to you. You put it out, and then someone else can be affected by it. I remember when I was in Finding Atlantis, I had been writing songs and stuff. There were people in other countries that would message us. And I actually had a lady one day that messaged me, and she was like, I just want to say thank you. My brother was really suicidal. He's really upset, felt like nobody understood him. And he listened to your music and finally felt like someone understood him, and it stopped him from taking his life. And like, that was a huge moment for me. Like, that was life-changing. That's what I got into music for in the first place, is because I was at a really low place. And like when I was 16, 17, and literally felt like nobody understood me. Nobody felt like they were living in the same world I was. And especially back then, social media wasn't a thing. So it was a lot harder to find people that were feeling what you were feeling, So to hear songs that are like, wow, this is everything I'm feeling. It's incredible to know there's other people out there. I was like, I want to do this. So that's how it happened. I started out playing guitar for years, just kind of self-taught and all this. And then I was in a band. They wanted me to sing backup vocals. I did. And they were just like, what? You can sing? And I was like, I guess maybe. And then I became a singer. That's how it happened. So a lot of people also just don't try because they're scared, or they think they can't sing, and then realize like they can, with a little bit of tweaking of whatever you're doing, just a little bit of different air projection. You can go from to like anything, just there's different ways to push air out of your mouth. We'll discuss that another time when I get more into the like singing and technical parts of it. But anybody that thinks that they can't do anything, anybody that thinks they can't play guitar, can't play piano, can't sing, that's crap. Okay. You can do anything. You just got to put your mind to it. Nobody's incapable of this stuff unless you're literally tone deaf, in which case, sorry. That's what AI is for, though, I guess, for those people. But I would like to be, by the end of these lessons, have you able to do anything you want to do. But I do want to make it clear, these are not music lessons. I'm not coming here to teach you music theory. I'm not coming here to teach you how to play instruments. I'm not coming here to teach you to become a guitar expert or a masterful singer or the best mixer in the world. I'm here to teach you how to do it in the most basic, cheap, accessible way possible. And then wherever you take it beyond that, that's you. I'm giving you the blueprints, and then make it your own. Do what you want with it. Learn guitar, learn drums, learn piano, learn how to sing better, and then incorporate that into what I show you. Learn to mix more, even get better at that. Like I said, even with mixing, I'm going to show you a lot of really good techniques, but I'm not going to go through every single possible way of mixing and every single possible thing that you need to do to mix a song to make it a masterful project. I'm showing you the basics of what you need to know to bring a song to life, and then I'm leaving it in your hands to expand it and turn it into a masterpiece. Okay. So if you're here to become the best guitarist in the world, I'm sorry, but you're not. That's not what this is. Okay. I just want to make that clear. I don't want anybody coming in here with the wrong expectations and being let down. I want to show you guys how to bring your songs to life. Okay. So if anybody in the chat has any preferences of what kind of songs, if they have any questions on anything I've covered, I know I've kind of been talking kind of fast and everything like that. Let's see, I can try the rhyming game and make that funny. I guess I'll try writing down the first thing that comes to mind. That's great. We could do that. I would love to do that in the chat, just play a game like that, with your friends and stuff. I mean, we could do it in the chat. If you guys, even in the comments, once I post this, I'll post a word. We'll just go down, see who wants to rhyme with it. But I think also it's good to have a pen and paper, just sometimes sit down in your room and write a word. I find the most that you're gonna get out of is by picking difficult words. Obviously, to start out, maybe pick words like run, which has a ton of words to it, but then start picking words like disappoint, you know, words like exaggeration, those are the words that are going to be when you're singing or you're improvising stuff and you use those words that people are really going to be like, whoa, did he just make this up on the spot? Like me and my friends used to do that. We'd play shows like after the concerts were over, we'd go out in the back with the fans and we'd get the acoustic guitar and I would literally sit down and be like, give me a topic. And then I'd just like kill it using the craziest stuff that they would be like, there's no way that you just improvise that, because that was what I did is I focused on bigger, higher vocabulary words and getting used to rhyming those instead of just the typical like I'm having fun under the sun, gonna run all day or something lame like that. Like nobody wants to hear that. Be like, yeah, my expectations take me in certain directions that make my inflections some, like find things that people don't expect because it makes it more appealing. Also, nobody wants to hear a song where they're rhyming the most basic words ever. So again, make sure that you're just true to yourself. I mean, that's the best thing you can really do. Like, but after saying that, I'm also going to tell you sometimes just lie. So be true to yourself, but also sometimes just make up stories. Melon, it doesn't always have to rhyme. I do automatic writing, write my feelings of stories, and I don't know how to put it into structure of an actual song. That's also true. It doesn't always have to rhyme. In fact, one of my favorite bands of all time is Circa Survive, and pretty much none of their songs rhyme. But their structure and the way they sing it is incredible. Like if you go listen to Circa Survive, I would recommend. Actually, just for fun, I'll pull up a song real quick, Circa Survive, so you guys can hear the difference in a song that doesn't need to rhyme against something that I've showed you before. So this is a song. Actually, this is a song he wrote. No, I can't play that one because that's a song he wrote. He wrote a song where he basically addresses the fact that everybody says he doesn't rhyme in his songs. Let's see. So here's a good song. So just check it out. I'll kind of fast forward a little bit. Don't say a word. Don't be grateful if I made you laugh. Let's make believe what's at stake here's more than just your reputation. She's got the phone, but no recollection. So as you can see, while none of those lines rhymed, the way they sing it and the way that they enunciate it and the cadence of it is really appealing. And I love that too. So your songs don't always have to rhyme. There's a lot of great songs that don't rhyme. That's just like people expect it a lot. So if you're looking to write lyrics that rhyme, this is the way to do it. If you are good at writing songs like that, I'm gonna be honest, I'm terrible at writing songs that don't rhyme. Like I've not found that flow. There's just like a special flow that you really have to make a song sound good when it doesn't rhyme the way that like Anthony Green does. Like a song like that, you almost wouldn't notice that it's not rhyming if you weren't paying attention. But a lot of songs, if you were to sing it and not rhyme it, like it's gonna sound funny. So if you are someone like Melon that likes to do automatic writing and doesn't know how to put it to a structure of an actual song, that's something we can address. I'll actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I'll do a little bit more research on that and work with myself and practice that and come back maybe on the next session next week with some more answers, or maybe I'll DM you personally, or you can DM me personally, and we can work on better ways to do that. And when I come in next week, I can add that to the repertoire of what we can do here. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I personally am not great at it, but I would recommend if you are trying to find a way to do it, Circa Survive is absolutely the man to check out to see how they do it. And the things that they do are incredible. One of my favorite bands of all time. But what I was getting at as far as the I just said be true to yourself and then immediately said lie sometimes. Um, there are most of my songs obviously are very passionate songs about instances in my life that happened, ex-girlfriends, losses that I've had with friends, the rock bottoms in my life, things like that. But there's also been songs I've written about imaginary scenarios. I'll write about a girl that never even existed, tell a story that is a fictional story that you write and turn it into a song. It doesn't always have to be true. You can be a storyteller telling a story that you wrote, a fictional story, and that's also something great. I always love music that tells a story as well. So writing fictional stories and turning those into songs, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Again, I think it's fascinating when people can do that, and I love it. I love doing it myself. I wrote, my band did a song called Dream of a Memory. Basically the entire it basically was like a movie that I wrote musically. It was about a guy that basically fell in love with a girl, and he was talking to her and she was calling him on the phone, but then realizing that the ringing on the phone was in his ears, and blah blah blah, and he's talking to someone, and it basically ends up being that in the end it's revealed that the last time he saw her, it talks about the taste of liquor on your breath. The last time I saw her, she died in an accident. He's been hallucinating the whole thing, talking to her in his head. The back and forth conversations he was having was with his therapist, that he thought he was talking to her. It was like it's very complex, but if you listen to it, you'll get it. So things like that, like I really love telling stories through music that way as well. It doesn't always have to be something from the heart. If you're someone that's good at writing stories and someone that's good at coming up with fictional ideas and stuff like that, even better. Turn your stories into songs. Like that's an even better way to do it. And it's amazing. It's great. It's beautiful. Love it all. One thing I wanted to do today is kind of get a guitar out here to kind of give you guys 4 chords to play and then show you guys how to put that together. But I think that might be next week's lesson. I didn't really give you guys a heads up on bringing a guitar, so I don't really want to throw that out there at you and be like, hey, now get the guitars that I didn't tell you to bring, and then we'll do that. But for next week, I will go ahead and give you this task, okay? I want you to learn 4 chords from me, just 4 basic chords. Again, this is not a music lesson. We're not going to be learning all the crazy chords, okay? So if you have a guitar at home, or even a piano, learn these 4 chords, all right? I want you to learn a C, an E minor, a G, and let's go A minor. We can do A minor. Yeah. E minor, C, G, A minor, okay? And next week, really all I'm going to be doing is showing you how to put lyrics to music, and we're going to just use those 4 chords, okay? Because you can literally build a song off those 4 chords so easily. I might change up the chords between now and then, but if I do, I'll show you how to play the other chords. But these are the most basic chords that I use when writing songs. Also, another one that I use is a chord. I'm actually not even sure what it would be called. I kind of just boom did the thing and it worked out and whatever. So either way, we'll figure that out. I don't have any instruments. So Gerd, one thing we could, I guess I could just play it on here and then you guys could practice it there. I'll play the 4 chords myself, and then you guys can take lyrics that you've written or anything like that, and kind of I'll explain to you and show you how to put it to it. Okay, so you don't really need to learn it yourself. How about that? So to make things easier, if you have a guitar and you want to learn how to do it, cool. But if not, I'll just play the 4 chords on here, and then I'll have you guys take something that you've written or improvise whatever next week. But one thing I do definitely want you guys to do is next week have something written next week, okay? So like I said, doesn't have to be perfect. I just wanted to work on how to make the lyrics. We're not done. Calm down. So next week I want you guys to have something written next week to where whether it be some poetry that you wrote that doesn't rhyme, Doesn't have to do anything like that. Sit down and write something that has the structure of a song, or try the improv thing. Okay. I'm also going to teach you guys the breakdown, which I'm still going to cover that today. We're not done with this. I know I'm already 30 minutes in. Didn't want to run this too long, but we're gonna keep going for a little bit because I do have some more things to say. So last little bit I am gonna do is explain to you guys the basic breakdown of a song and your best way to do that. Okay. So pretty much all songs have a very basic structure if we're going with basic structures, right? So you have a verse, you have a chorus. All right. Actually, that's super duper basic. If we're going super duper basic, I'd say verse, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus. So for like a really easy song, normally this is how it would go. You would have the first verse, that verse would go into the chorus, you would have a second verse, you go back into the chorus, and then you'd have a more softer chorus at the end. So if the chorus is like dun, 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 the end would be like dun, 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 just to kind of end it off, you know. But my preference, usually they have like a little intro, verse, a pre-chorus, which is basically just a little part that leads into the chorus, and then the chorus. Okay. And then we'll say another verse. So for that, obviously your choruses are always going to be the same almost every time. I mean, some people do different choruses. What am I writing? I can't spell. Some people, there we go. Some people have different choruses. They'll do different choruses each time, but typically intro. But typically this is the best setup for a good song that's going to hold someone's attention and not be too long. So you want the intro to be more of like a musical type thing. Okay. So that's probably going to be music. Don't need to really worry about that. Your verse is going to be the first little chunk of the song. I would say for this 4 lines. Let's say, well, to keep it simple, just because we're keeping it simple, 4 lines for a verse. Okay. 4 lines for a verse. I'd say 1 to 2 lines for a pre-chorus. Chorus is also probably going to be this is because it really depends on how we're going to write the song. I'm trying to think of what I want to do next week. All right, so we're gonna do it like this. So 8 lines for the verse. Pre-chorus could be a quick 2, chorus 4. Okay, and then another 8 for the verse. We'll go back to the pre-chorus, 2 more lines, and then the chorus. So this is usually a pretty good standard, I feel like, depending on how fast the song goes, depending on how it goes, things like that. 8 lines for a verse, a little pre-chorus just leading you into the song could be anywhere from 1 to 2. The chorus needs to be 4 lines that hit hard. I personally think that the best way to write a good song is to write the chorus first, because the chorus is going to be what's catching people's attention. The chorus is going to be what the whole song is about. The chorus is the core of the song. It's the heart and the soul of everything. If you have a bad chorus, your verses can be amazing, but if that chorus doesn't hit, nobody's going to care. You could have the lamest song, but then that chorus hits and gives you goosebumps, and you're like, oh my God, this is my favorite song ever. And you will listen to the boring verses to get to that chorus. I've heard so many songs that have terrible choruses, and I will love this song and be like, ugh. Or the opposite, you know, I'm like, you don't want to listen to the verse because it kind of sucks, and then you get that chorus and like, yeah, let's go. You know, like the chorus is it. So I think writing the chorus is the best thing to do, because again, also that kind of sets the tone. That tells you what the story is going to be about, and then the verse fits in the sprinkles. You know, like if you're telling a story, you want the plot to be the chorus. The chorus is the plot. Okay, that's the whole what the story is about. The verse is going to be the side stories that, you know, sprinkle in to give the details of it, but really the chorus is what the story is. And then the ending or the outro, last chorus, whatever you want to do there, that's typically going to be the one that hits the hardest, because that's how you end the song. You want it to be memorable. But one thing I've always found as far as writing songs, and it could just be me, it could be other people, but if you don't have my attention in the first like 3 to 4 seconds of a song, I'm skipping it. I just don't care. It's not good. So the most important parts of your song need to be those first 3 to 5 seconds, the chorus, and the outro, because you need to catch people's attention immediately. You need to have a chorus that's going to hit them and make them feel it. And you need to have a really strong ending. So when that song's over, they're going to go, oh my God, I will never forget that song, you know? Let's see. Melon, can I bring my poetry next week and you tell me how to put this in this kind of structure? Yes, absolutely. That's actually what I was wanting you guys to do. So like I said, if you have poetry at home, bring that in next week. The things I've taught you here as far as like how to write lyrics, you know, the rhyming, if you want to do the rhyming, I would say with an 8 line, the first 4 need to rhyme. Here's the different ways to do a 4-line verse, okay? So with a 4-line verse, you either want 1, 2, 3, 4 that all rhyme, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4 that all rhyme. Or you want 3 that rhyme, and then a 4th that doesn't rhyme, and then 3 more that rhyme, and then these 2 rhyme, okay? So you got the, where's my other marker? Hold on. So, like I said, either you have the, I'll put them beside of each other. Either you have, so with an 8-line verse, you either have these 4 lines rhyme, and then these 4 lines rhyme, okay? And then it leads into the pre-chorus that builds up the chorus. Or another way to do a 8-line verse would be these 3 lines rhyme, and then these 3 lines rhyme either separately or with those 3 lines, and then you have the 4th line and the 8th line rhyme with each other, okay? So you can bring it back. So for example, just to use some just basic words, I don't know what to do now that I am without you. I knew that we were through and everything fell apart. I can't seem to get by. I always wonder why. Now and in the sky. Broke my heart. You know, something like that. I don't know, whatever. So the part and the heart rhyme. These 3 lines rhyme, and then this one rhymes with that one. Okay. So that's how you do that. The 2 lines for the pre-chorus really don't have to be, like I said, it could be 1 line, but really the pre-chorus needs to be a build-up. You need to feel that, you know, in a movie when it's building up to like the really big fight scene and everybody's like, you know, that kind of thing. It needs to really like build from the verse and feel that tension rising to get to the chorus. And then the chorus needs to be where it hits. Okay. You need to feel that chorus. And again, with a chorus, 4 lines, I think is good. You could also do 8 with a chorus too. I mean, there's really no structure on a chorus. Choruses could be 2 lines if it's good, but with 4, I would say make them all rhyme. Maybe 8. I don't know. I'm really torn on the chorus situation. We'll do we'll do 8. We'll do 8 for the chorus next week as well. So we're gonna change this up. I know I keep changing you guys, whatever, but we're gonna do this instead. So I want 8 lines for the verse, 8 lines for the chorus. That'll give it even 16. Then the pre-chorus, 1 or 2. You don't even have to have a pre-chorus, but I would recommend a pre-chorus. The chorus 8 lines, verse, 8 lines, and then we'll worry about just that. Just for now, just to kind of keep it simple. Obviously, the first verse and the second verse need to be the same. You don't need to worry about writing 2 pre-choruses or 2 choruses because those are going to repeat. They're always going to be the same. Pre-choruses can be different, but typically you want the pre-chorus to be the same and the chorus to be the same. If you do have 2 different pre-choruses, make sure they have like a similar vibe, because that build up that you get to that chorus still needs to have that same intensity, that same vibe when it hits the chorus, so you know what to do. And then, as I said before, the song will normally end with a chorus, but a softer chorus. So if the chorus really is like the end's gonna be like a like go to acoustic or something, or and then it'll probably hit with another chorus at the end, play it twice, and have like a whole orchestra and just crazy. Like I said, because the song needs to end hard. So there will typically be a good chorus at the end where it's soft, but then you're going to want that last chorus to just take it home all day. Okay. So, any questions from where we left off about how to write lyrics? I think I've covered the different types, the rhyming, the off the head, the poetry, any way you want to write it, what you write it about, anything like that. Anybody got any questions about that? You know what you need to bring next week for your lesson? All right, I'll give you guys a little bit of time to reply if anybody hasn't replied. But again, I'll leave this here one more time for next week's lesson. Give me a 8-line verse, a 2 or 1 to 2 line pre-chorus, an 8-line chorus, and an 8-line verse. And we're going to work from there, okay? Guys, do it however you want to. If you want none of it to rhyme, I don't care. Like this is you, okay? This is your, I'm just here. This is the homework I'm giving you, but I'm just here. If you don't want the whole thing to rhyme at all, you don't have to. I'm just teaching you how it's typically done. Like I said, I'm giving you the basics. I'm giving you the blueprints. If you guys want to take it a whole different direction, excellent. So I would recommend, like I said, either the 4 rhyme or the 3 4 3 4 rhyme. And then for the chorus, pretty much the same basis. The chorus, either one of these is the same with that, either the 4 4 or the 3 4 or 3 4. All right. So yeah, great idea. Try to write something basic, bring it back. Don't overthink this, okay? For you guys that are coming in next week with something written, don't try to make this the greatest song you've ever written. Don't sit here all week thinking I gotta have something amazing to impress everybody with. I gotta do this. Because again, this is just teaching you how to do it, how to bring everything together. So I'm not going to say you might not write the best song that's ever existed. You might not go triple platinum with whatever I teach you to write, but this is the basics. This is just me showing you how it's done. And then as we progress, I'll get you to that point where you're more comfortable with the lyrics. You're more comfortable with the putting it in with the songs, mixing, recording, all that. But today's lesson has just been strictly about how lyrics are made, how they're written, and what you need to do to make them right. Okay. So I appreciate you guys' time. Again, Discord, Vitality Social Live, Vitality Social Network is actually Discord, Vitality Social Network. I have the link is in here. If you scroll up on the chat. Also, YouTube, Vitality Social Live. Make sure you check in every week. We do have other people that will be joining hopefully soon as other hosts doing their own shows. Also, I myself, as well as some other people, are working on a late night hangout thing that we're going to be doing, where we will be streaming games, hanging out, talking, chilling, things like that. So we'll give you a better schedule on that. If you guys like hanging out with me, you just like my vibe because I'm super awesome, come join us, play some games with us. Maybe we'll let you guys come on and play with us. I think we're talks right now, maybe Minecraft, maybe this new game, The Isle, that I've heard about, where you get to be dinosaurs and freaking eat other dinosaurs. It sounds awesome. So yeah, love you guys. Thank you. You're amazing. I can't wait to see what you guys bring next week and help you turn it into something beautiful. I'm so glad to help you guys bring your music and your passion to life. I'm so excited for everything that I'm going to do for you guys and everything that I'm going to see from you guys. So thank you so much. I will see you next week. Mwah. Love you all.